So what we'll do today, we're going to go over a couple things and then we'll do some Q&A stuff because honestly, for the first time, I didn't know what I was going to talk about today. I won't lie. Usually, just so everyone knows, I don't know what I'm going to talk about when we start this thing. We just flow, but I didn't even have a subject today. So it was crazy family weekend and there's so much stuff going on that I didn't even know what we needed to talk about. So if somebody's got a note that they know what they want to talk about today, throw a note in there and we'll go on that. But we're going to talk a little bit on sports because, it's an interesting application. And we went over the business aspect. This is actually one other thing I'll go over. I was thinking about doing this. So we'll talk about this because I'm trying to put things in place for the community. I'm not sure how quickly we'll be able to do it though. So we will find out. Yeah, we can make Bill and Koo available. We'll put that under the documents. We need all the logos available under the documents. So Patrick will make a note of that. And we'll have the crew put all that stuff in there. Let me see here.
You're building out actually this week all Bill and Koo. So you'll start to see documents get loaded up into the back office for Bill and Koo, but noted I will add the logo for sure.
All right. Now I had my thought. Now I know what we're going to talk about. Booyah. Let me close my door. Meeting, got faster training. We'll go over a couple things. So here we go. Do we have more than 6 people on here now? Yep. Man, it's crazy. Root U gets like 600 people. This gets 6. And we know why. Because, well, Dr. Ram isn't here. So here's a note for everyone. This is actually forthcoming, but the accreditation was just announced last week to Dr. Ram and myself that some of you might have been aware. We're heavy on education, right? Education is really important. And Dr. Ram has a level of education that is beyond, well, anyone I've ever met. I'm yet to find someone with multiple PhDs, a PsyD, an EDD, and finishing her MD, by the way. I think by the end of the year, she will also have her MD because she's doing that for fun. I try to play golf. She goes and gets another doctorate. And I haven't been able to play golf. But because of these people that have questioned her education, whereas a guy would probably just argue it, and MD is medical doctor, Sylvia. So then we'll be able to call her Dr. Ram. So the people that stutter are going to be accurate when they try to say her name. They're like, Dr. Ram. Yes, perfect. But because of the work she had done in Africa and because of actually some of the additional work she's done in different parts of the world, in lieu of trying to explain how many doctorates she has and what her education is, we've actually started our own university, an accredited university, Ram Thomas University, that will be an online, non-woke, fully accredited by the University of California education system with UCal Berkeley, apparently. We will be able to offer a Bachelor of Arts program and a master's program and eventually a PhD program. So we have an accredited university that is going to be part of the Rootverse. It's going to be epic. So for those of you that want a college education, you'll be able to get it done actually in a really, really cool venue. So here's the challenge I have, because, and Pat will like this. If you know what Grand Canyon University was, Grand Canyon University is a university in Arizona now, but they started out as just an online university, and then they had so many students that they ended up creating a campus, and then They actually have a basketball team. They have a sports program at Grand Canyon University. So if Ram Thomas University ends up having a basketball team that ends up getting into the NCAA tournament, I will dance a jig. So I swear to God, if we get a basketball team for Ram Thomas University, I will dance on the court in the middle of a game and get removed from the building. Quote me now. So that could be hilarious. But that is forthcoming. So kind of fun stuff, because as we talk about, the Rootverse is ever expanding. That was one thing I did not do. That's what happens when you mess with really smart, dynamic women that go, you want to question my education? Great. Then I guess I'm just going to start a university. So she did. But we went over business, right? Hopefully the conversation that we had on the business model was educational. And honestly, the key part of this is sitting down and thinking about how to use and how to apply the business model in conjunction with the things you like doing. Right? As we mentioned before, you should find those 5 things that you really like, and then really weave and commingle the aspects of the Rootverse with the things that you're passionate about. So that makes it really easy to talk about and authentic to talk about. But the other important part, and I have to give credit to, I can see Florian right now, and Florian hit what, gold 1, then gold 2, gold 3, and gold 4, like in a couple of days, because the Germans are expanding. I might be wrong in the ranks, but he's gold 5 now. He went from like 2 to 5, like real quick. It's amazing. The one thing that's important also to share along with product outcomes and experiences is the financial aspect. And I know Alona was making a couple posts on this, which was amazing. You should celebrate all of your victories, right? And we try to do this in all the social groups, and you can do this in your account by looking at rank advancements, and you can create recognition for rank advancements when someone is sharing. It is so important that you do things to recognize people for the behaviors that they're doing. We do it with animals, we do it with kids, but even as adults. And we've probably gone over this before, but one of Napoleon being quoted, I don't know if it was his quote exactly, but with his understanding of just give me a bunch of ribbon and scrap metal and I'll try to take over Europe. Because people will work for money, they'll die for recognition, but if you give them both, you can really do some damage. And whether you're looking at the outcomes that you're getting for someone with their health, or the health of their kids or people around them, the financial benefits that people are receiving from doing something very simple, which is sharing, right? We're not pitching a business opportunity or anything. It's just a matter of saying, hey, I like this stuff. This stuff works really well. Check this out, try it, use it. And it's something that needs to be shared. Right. And I can see Sandy here. Sandy's like one of the best examples, because because of some of Sandy's indirect relationships, he's been here since almost the beginning, since February. Actually, yeah, since the beginning, since February of 2020. And he's had actually, Sandy, I'm going to unmute you. We're going to talk about this a little bit. So let's talk about this, because now it's been 3 years.
I just missed.
Oh, well, you got to go. So it's been 3 years now, right? And Harry made the comment over the weekend that he's never made so much money, and that's your fault. I had Harry talk about that last week. You're right, of the the pursuit that you had of the little guy, as we'll call him.
Yeah, Harry is very little physically,
But he's got a big
but
heart.
not in wisdom though. He's got a big heart.
Not in wisdom. He's got a huge heart, right? And that was one of the things that you saw and that you had adoration for, and you knew you could get some great feedback from him. But you've had an opportunity that your life's pretty much changed significantly from where you were 3 years ago, with the request that your mom made as she was dying, for Claire to, help you find your purpose. You're still searching, by the way. But talk a little, because we've got a bunch of people that maybe don't know what your story was. Don't go into the whole story.
Yeah.
But just the aspects of sharing and continually sharing, and the true power of what happens when people that share with people that they know, and what happens from that point, because your growth and development of your root commissions and your sales community really wasn't predicated on your personal relationships, right?
Right.
So hit on that a
Right.
little bit.
Yeah, sure. So I've been in since, well, I got invited onto a webinar with Clayton and Dory and Claire in February 2020. And all I was looking for was a product to help my dad, really. And anyway, cut a long story short, I got delivery in April 2020. I had absolutely no plans to build a business. I wasn't interested, especially a product-based business. But I tried Clean Slate, and I got amazing results, like very, very quickly. Like one of the most profound was very lucid dreams and better sleep. And as Clayton explained to me, that was because of the decalcification of my pineal gland, which, because I'm interested in spirituality and consciousness, and I was just amazed because I spent a lot of money trying to decalcify my pineal gland, and Clean Slate does it as a side effect. Anyway, I still had no plans. I still had no plans. Sorry, Alfred is making me laugh with a then, because we were all under lockdown at the time and we had nothing, we couldn't go out, we just had Zooms. I just invited people to the Tuesday Zooms with Clayton and Dory, and I invited them because I was just getting such amazing results with Clean Slate. That's all we had at the time. And people came onto the calls. They loved the calls because they're educational. As Clayton said, it's all about education. Like Root is all about education. It's not trying to sell a product. It's about educating you. And people started to buy. And one person in particular, Marina Carew, referred a lady called Michelle Young, who then referred some big influencers, and that really catapulted my business. I then met Harry. I got introduced to him, and I heard he was an influencer, and he was doing these patches at the time. And because he was in the UK, I said, look, let's meet up. And I met Harry, and yeah, quite an experience. Anyone who's met Harry knows it's an experience meeting him. And it took some persistence from me, but I finally said, sorry, mate, here's a bottle of Clean Slate. Let me know what you think. And Harry was just hooked. And now I am where I am because just introduce people, just tell people about the product, because you just never know where it's going to lead. And now my life is completely transformed. And I think a major reason for that is because of this community. You know, this community is awesome. It's a very light community. It's not heavy like other communities, like, you know, in network marketing and stuff. It's really good fun. And, you know, Clayton and Patrick and Ted and Dr. Ram, they make it good fun. They make it light. But the products are awesome, and obviously the rewards plan is awesome as well.
So it's been a fun year. And you actually, what were you doing before?
I was a security guard. I was on I still do it like 1 or 2 days a month just to see the guys and stuff. I was on £10 an hour. They've actually increased our pay. It's now $11.25 an hour.
Let's go.
So yeah. But yeah, I was a security guard.
Have you done the math? Have you done the math on this yet? How many hours or how many months would you have had to work prior to make what you make in a month now?
Okay, so let's say I'd have to do 2,000 hours a month at £10 an hour.
Is there 2,000 workable hours in?
I'd be dead, bro. that job is so boring, right? I mean, you're on your feet for 11, 12, 13 hours a day, and with maybe 4 or 5 breaks a shift. And you're not exercising this.
But so let's think about that. You tried something, you shared it with a few friends because you liked your results, and now you get to go back to doing the things that you were doing before to stay connected to people and stay humble.
Yeah, and some of those people, some of my colleagues actually buy Clean Slate. There's one girl in particular. She had the thing in the arm, and I said to her, "You need Clean Slate," and she's absolutely fine now. But yeah, I just do it out of choice, but I can just pick and choose.
But you go from having to work for £10 an hour to now you'd have to work 2,000 hours to make what you're getting for helping people.
Yeah,
That's a good trade, right?
Yeah.
How cool is that? And so the point of this is what's really important for everyone, because in understanding what we are, and when I say that, I want you to understand our existence as humans, right? That there's so much chaos going on in the world right now, and this just in, it's gonna get worse. Just so you know. What we're at the beginning of right now is a precipice of absolute chaos. This ain't gonna be an easy rest of the year. This really, I will argue the next 12 months, between April to April, we're gonna see some stuff we've probably never seen before, and I will well, we're going to hit on one of the key points in a minute, because I'm trying to do some stuff for the community, but I'm going to make recommendations for people outside of even what we can provide them. But understanding that your influence, because we are all connected, and Sandy's one of the best examples of this, because it's been amazing to watch this take place. Have you looked at how many people you have in your community? You got what, 70,000 people, something like that?
No, I've got 36.
36,000 people. Now imagine this. His involvement, because one of his friends who was talking with his mom before she died, and his mom said, hey, help him find a purpose. Help him figure out what he's going to be able to do. And had Sandy not made that investment that's so expensive, as some people say, $70. 36,000 people would not have what they have now. And I know a lot of those people wouldn't be alive because of what's been going on and what the products have done for them. And like Sandy, here's the craziest part. There are a couple people that, as Sandy was mentioning, going down those lines. One of them, he has a social channel that he has a pretty good group of people that watch him. And just through him talking about the products and his personal experience, and this is the important part, because we are all connected, right? All of us are all connected, right? We're all here because we're all connected. But the people that you want to work with, like Pat was mentioning a week or two ago, that she wishes other professional sports and other professional athletes would be adopting what we have. Well, we're all connected to that industry, right? And this is one of the things I'll go over in a second. It's the tipping point now, is things are just starting to roll downhill. And since we're all connected, the more you have the conviction in yourself to be willing to share with people, and you teach people the value of sharing. Don't teach people a business opportunity, right? Because people are programmed to think that's scary and that's risky, right? And they have an aversion to that. And we've been taught, not me, that selling is bad, right? No one wants to be a salesperson. I remember growing up when I was much, much younger, people were like, you could do sales. And they would say it to me like that was the only thing I was capable of doing, kind of like I was special needs. They're like, well, at least you could do sales. I'm like, wait a minute. I can clean stalls too, because I was shoveling horse manure earlier than I was talking to a lot of people. I knew I had multiple skill sets, right? If everything went bad, I'm grabbing a shovel. Some might argue I shovel more shit now than I did when I was younger, but who knows? But the benefit of just sharing, if you have something you like, all that we've done, all that you're capable of doing right now is educating people on what their real value looks like, on what businesses have taken advantage of for the last 100 years, right? Because all businesses have done is do the same thing that we're doing. They just kept all the money. They never put it into the people that really created the value. And if you really honestly and truly accept what that means and what that means to people, I'll give you an example. We have an ambassador, because I look at the withdrawals. It's my favorite, I think most of you guys know Wednesdays are my favorite day. Friday is now my second favorite day, because the withdrawals are a lot smaller, but Wednesdays are my favorite day. Get this. So last week, we kind of get a prediction on what kind of withdrawal numbers we're going to see every week, because things are pretty consistent right now. But last week was another big week. And Duquesne came to me and he's like, we had a big withdrawal day. I'm like, cool, what happened? He's like, well, somebody pulled out $100,000 in a day. Another one pulled out 66,000. And then one person pulled out 25,000. That person was one of the people that Sandy was mentioning. But so over the weekend, we had the beginning of the month, right? We had April Fool's Day. We had April 1st. You know, I love looking at the first of the month, after the algorithms calculate all the harvest reward bonuses and all the check matches and everything. I like to look at accounts to see what people really made, for the month, because you have your daily pay and you have all your commissions for your sharing that you calculate. But at the end of every month, all of your matches, your daily paycheck matches for, your 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, depending upon your rank, and your harvest rewards bonuses are all calculated and they're posted in your account. So you can withdraw those in 7 days. So I like to look at those, because I follow who's making what in different ranks, because it's one of the things that gives me great joy to see people get rewarded for doing the things that they're doing, because their success is our success. And the only reason that we're really doing this is to help people, and giving people an opportunity to help people in different ways is what really drives Dr. Ram and myself. The health part's a given, but I will tell you, there's as much fun in being able to hear from people that, hey, you know what? I don't have to worry about paying rent anymore. I've got money, right? And so you look at accounts, and there are some people that serve as an example for the rest of the community. And there are things that come with time, right? Because if you understand how human behavior functions, there's an aspect of geometry that kicks in. And I sucked at geometry in school. I was good at math. That's why I learned that addition by subtraction is pretty much the key to what we function with, because that's about what I'm really good at. I can multiply, right? I can multiply and divide. I can add and subtract, but I'm not really good at geometry, because you watch the expansion of things. But here's what happens. The more you share with people and the more you take the time to help other people understand, once they've had experiences that they too can share. If people share with friends who share with friends, and you just teach that simple process, you get to a point where the geometry kicks in and you can't help it. It's like I was talking about with Florian. Florian got recognized in the silver group for hitting gold. I think it was gold 2 over the weekend or on Friday. And then like he just mentioned, by Sunday, he's gold 5, because geometry is starting to take place. People start compounding. You can't stop it, right? It's, as I've mentioned, the sound of inevitability, because the more you look to serve and you teach that, people will do the same behavior. If you whine and complain and worry about stuff, you're going to be around people that whine and complain and worry about stuff. And you're probably going to be miserable over time. But if you create an environment that is around creating really cool outcomes and helping and serving and having fun and, just doing dope shit, as Kanye West used to say, then you're going to create a community of just that. And through that, you're going to see really cool things happen. And it gets to the point where you can't stop it, right? And that's where Sandy, like Sandy's talking about, he hit this point that the development of a community of consumers was well beyond his capacity to control, manage, even dictate, and understand what was happening. And I can remember the first conversations that I got to have with him, because we're a pretty tight community, right? I mean, we've got this crew that hangs out with me pretty consistently. It's growing a little bit every week, and we add some new people so they can come learn. We'll have to start repeating some of the stuff we've done before. But I remember having the conversation with Sandy of him understanding that the rewards that he's receiving, he's going to have to accept, because they're not going to stop. And even in his mindset, it was because we all become a little destructive psychologically when we start to receive or benefit from things more than what we think we're worth. So you actually have to change your thoughts. You have to change how you perceive yourself. Sometimes you have to put on a jacket. Oh, I have to thank Dervish for this coat too. It's springtime, so I got to wear my spring coat. But you get to the point where it's beyond you. And the best thing you can do is just tell people and help people become the best versions of themselves, and to figure out how to get people comfortable with doing the things that we're good at, sharing. And you can't stop it. So with that, just so you guys have the number, what's really important, we've got an organization. It's a nonprofit organization that did this. So, but and they've only got like 44 customers personally. And I think there's probably seven or so that are consistent, but there's 3 primary ones that have really done a lot. So last month, for the month of March, I just looked at this over the weekend because it makes me giggle because I didn't make it. I would like to, but it's not me. They made $205,000 in the month of March. 205 in a freaking month, doing the same thing that we're all talking about doing. So what does that mean? Well, that means if you're consistent and you allow people to do what we do and you're a little bit diligent with it. Now, it doesn't happen immediately. It's taken 3 years for that to happen, right? But it's not stopping, because in February, they made 175,000. Can you imagine that? It's like, oh, I had an amazing month, made $175,000. But the next month you go, oh, we made 205. Oh, it's terrible. Couldn't imagine that. These are the things that happen when you create amazing outcomes and people just start sharing. So like Pat was talking about, was it last week or the week before last? We need more professional athletes and using this and such. Well, guess what? They're going to come through all of you. And here's the crazier part. If you look at your statistics in your account, if you go to your statistics, and if you remember on the rewards plan, and I didn't touch about this much because it's built in as a mechanism, but it's not something that matters because the behavior of the community already dictates that it will never be an issue. But we have a 55% rule, which means 55% of the volume of qualifying volume has to be from customers, personal customers, or not just personal customers, but customers in general, not ambassadors. So that means you can't have more ambassadors than customers, but we already know that's the case, and we know human behavior. So this is something that is really important for everybody that's here. So if I look at the master account for the company, which by the way is a gold, no, wait a minute. The master account is a platinum 1. I'm only a gold. Not very good at this. I think I spend too much time with everyone else. But the master account, and when we look at the number of customers, right? Customers versus ambassadors, it's 88.9% customers, which means of 160,000 plus customer total account holders, only about 17,000 ambassadors have created 160,000 customer accounts. So there's not, someone had asked me, is like, how many distributors or how many ambassadors do you have? Because I'm like, 15,000 or so. There's not a lot, right? I mean, we're in 70 countries, so you spread that out a little bit. But there's only 16, 17,000 of you that have created 160,000 customers that, or we'll say 150,000 customers, 150,000 customers, about 17,000 ambassadors. That's amazing. And it shows you what our human behavior is. But we also have customers that are creating more customers because they just share, but they don't want to be an ambassador. They're just happy to have their points, right? And they accumulate their points, which is also one of the greatest things you can have happen, right? If you're just customers, just start sharing. And that's the important part to touch on for people, right? Is what happens if you just go create loads and loads of customers and you tell those customers, hey, if you share with your friends, you get 15% in points, in rewards, and you can use those to get your products for free. And that's all, and their friends can tell their friends, and that's all you did is just, hey, you know what? When you use this stuff, if you like it, if you share with your friends, you get 15% back. Because we don't give discounts, right? We don't discount the products. We give rewards. We prefer to pass forward the value versus discounting what we've already created that has value. If we were going to discount a product, and I want you to think of this, wouldn't we just change the retail price? Because that's the way I think, right? Companies that are like, we're going to sell this for $80 and then we're going to discount it 50%. Well, why not just sell it for 40? Makes more sense. So there's no discounts, but we reward the creation of value. And if all you did was teach that, get customers, tell your customers, share with your friends, share with your friends, share with your friends. It's a big deal. Because I'll tell you what happens. The one ambassador I was talking about with his show, he made $450,000 last year and he has 4,500 personal customers. And he's only actually got one person that has started sharing out of those 4,500. They're just all personal customers. And so it gives you means of looking and understanding at, you know, how things can take place. Everybody can do this differently because we are all unique, right? But if you share with your friends, you don't know who your friends are connected to. Like right now, one of my buddies who is in Houston with Ted, because Ted took Jaden, his son, to go watch the Final Four. So one of my other buddies that lives here in town is also at the Final Four. He's texting me over the weekend, hey, I'm sitting with Chris. He's the all-time leading scorer at the University of Connecticut in basketball. His son's on the basketball team right now. I'm like, bruh, UConn's playing for the national championship right now. Like, we could probably have some fun with that relationship. But he's still learning and understanding and accepting and being convicted into the process of talking to people about the benefits. But you just have to understand of when that takes place. Like Sandy was going over with his investment of time into Harry. It wasn't something of one conversation leading to, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. No, it took, what was it, 6 months? I think it was about 6 months of Sandy communicating and following up. I remember the first time Sandy introduced me to Harry, we did an Instagram live, or it was a messenger, and Harry was bald. Maybe because he used the wrong P and it took all his hair off. I don't know. It was a bad batch. It's interesting. But now he's got loads of hair. But the value that's created from our behavior is so profound that if you really were able to calculate how much money you've made other people or made companies over the last few decades, you'd understand that what Jay-Z was saying years ago, I think it was about 10 or 15 years ago that he made the comment. He was being interviewed. And someone said he's a great businessman. He's like, I'm not a businessman. I am a business man. Meaning he is the business, right? And each of us are that. Each of us is a business, meaning each of us is capable of creating a lot of value and generating a lot of revenue. The question is, are you doing it in a way that you're actually being rewarded for? And what are you doing with it? So, see, we wanted to talk sports. We got to rant on something that was actually really important. So you got that. Learn to accept the process, and that if you are repetitive in the process, it will pay you very, 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 very well over time. You have one, as many people have said, you have to trust the process, right? But then just let it go and let it behave. And then watch what happens, because this just in, it's working. Oh, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go over here. I'm gonna here. Nope, I can't do it there. Oh no. Do I click on that? I can't remember how to mute people. Anyway. So we got that. So the last part, we're going to talk sports. We've gone over this multiple times before. I love sports. But more importantly, and you heard Sandy hit on this, and it's the one thing that I will keep pounding on and pounding on and pounding on. Because we're going to see this change here in the next couple of weeks as well. So many people talked solely about Clean Slate because there's such a phenomenal passion for what Clean Slate does. And there should be, rightfully. It's actually my favorite product. But my second favorite is probably the most fun. And that's natural barrier support. I kid. That's not it. But activities, life, everything is more fun and enjoyable with higher levels of dopamine and serotonin. And I will continue to let everybody know that Zero In is a tool that creates a better life for everyone that takes it, if they do it consistently. And when you do that, sports becomes better, life becomes better. I'll give you a really good example. So over the weekend, Dr. Rom's mom turned 80 years old. Pretty cool. And turning 80, we had a birthday party. So we had all of the family over, or almost all of the family over for her birthday to celebrate Mimi. And with that, we get to be around all the fun people. There's nothing more fun than spending time with family, right? I love my in-laws and Christina's side of the family. It's amazing. It's amazing that we get to hang out, because I don't get to hang out much with my family, and her family's more fun. So works out. Oh, well, you can record that. But her sister can be a little bit neurotic at times. kind of like Lisa Kreitz, if you know Lisa Kreitz. Lisa just got here, so I'll tell her she's neurotic too. I tell Lisa she's neurotic all the time. So we did something. I said, okay, Maggie, you need to take a 0N. She'd never taken them before. I'm like, well, you should probably take 2. And then Dr. Ram was like, she's not taking 2. I'm like, oh, it could be fun. But we had her take 1. And what was really funny is after day 1, when we did it, she's like, different person in about 10 minutes. She's like really calm, really relaxed. Everything's fine. She's running around doing stuff. So that was on Saturday. And I was teasing her that she's a lot more tolerable on 0N. Because you got to have fun with people. I'm like, you know what, you're more fun to be around than when you're doing that. She's like, I didn't feel anything. Yeah. And even Dr. Ram was like, yeah, that's the point. It doesn't make you feel different. It makes you different. You won't feel it because you're just you're just functioning better. So Sunday morning, we had her take another one, and in about 10 minutes, completely chill. Not worried about doing everything and making sure everything was taken care of, and making sure that everybody had everything. It was just relaxed and calm and cool. I'm like, that's the person we want to hang out with. And so you look at that application into life, you go, okay, what things do you do that you would want to enjoy more? Are they activities? Is it outdoor activities? Is it going out with friends? Is it hanging out with your kids? I'll give you one of the things that Ted told me the first time I had him take 0N when he went home. He's like, man, I got home and my teenager was tolerable. He was able to manage his emotions more effectively in responding to his teenage son. Makes you a better parent because you're relaxed, you're calm, but you're able to respond to things and you don't snap. That's serotonin. But if you're going out, you want more dopamine. You want everything to be fun, but also all of the little arduous tasks that we are supposed to get done during the day that are the things we don't like doing. Dopamine makes those fun and you're able to get through them. So when you look at the products, look at how you can share them. 0N's the easy one because you can just say, here, take a couple of these and call me in 10 minutes. I do that a lot with people. And then usually in about 10 to 30 minutes, I had an individual in the office last week. He owns a search engine optimization company. And we met when we were charging cars. And I was like, hey, it's good to meet you. And he's like, I do all this stuff online. I'm like, I do some marketing online. We should probably chat. And I had him, he's like, what do you do? I'm like, well, go on here. I'm going to send you a link, create a free account, just create an account and I'll send you some money because I want you to try this stuff. He's like, okay. Right. So just like Sandy did, Sandy gave away a bottle. What we like to do and what I encourage everyone to do, if you're going to do this, if you're going to gift someone something, do not give it to them. Right. And this is the part we've learned now, because everything is an educational process. I tell people, look, I'm going to text you a link right now. Go to therootbrands.com/you can't have my account. Sorry, I don't give mine out. That would be bad. Right. Go here, just create a free account real quick and then text me what your email address is. So he does it. And I send him like $100 so he could order a box of 0N. And so he got his box like 2 days later, which was impressive to him. And he's like, what do I do? I'm like, take 2 capsules and call me in 10 minutes. So he takes 2 capsules. I didn't get a call. I got a text like 30 minutes later. He's like, what is this? So he came to meet me last week. We're sitting down. He's like, dude, you told me to call you in 10 minutes. He said, I didn't call you in 10 minutes because I forgot, because I had this list of stuff that I hadn't been able to get completed. And I finished all of it in 30 minutes because all the stuff that I had on my to-do list that I hadn't been able to get done, I just knocked it all out. He said, I couldn't believe it. And then I realized it's like, oh, I feel outstanding right now. And how did I get all this stuff done? Like, and that's the point. He's like, do you know how amazing this stuff is? I'm like, uh-huh. Do you want to share? It's like, yes. Okay. Right. So it's important to not just look at things through the lens that you're dictating, right? Just like these. Sometimes you have to take these off and you have to change your lenses, right? You might put on a different pair. So now I have multiple kinds of glasses so I can accent. But sometimes you just need to look through things with your normal eyes to say, okay, this is what things are looking like. This is how they are. And you get to converse with people and figure out, okay, what's the best way to introduce something to you? Now, sometimes you take just the easiest path of resistance. And let me see if I got it. I do. Because it's just finishing up. Things are going to get really, really fun. And by the end of the month, because this was the sample bag. The bags everyone's going to get are 500 grams. This is 250. So they'll be twice this size. But they smell so good. You ever eat coffee beans? They have chocolate covered coffee beans are really good. So somebody's gonna. Tastes like greatness. Gonna be really easy to share coffee. And now you'll be able to invite friends over and be like, hey, you want to come over for coffee and hang out? They go, oh, of course. Great, let me make you a cup of coffee. And they'll go, hold on, what is this? Especially if you have like an espresso maker. It's gonna be nuts. This stuff's gonna be really, really cool. That you just find out where to meet people and allow them to share and go. And this is going to be an amazing, simple introduction, a way of breaking the communication gap many people have. Because much like we were talking about, I think we were talking about last week, like they do with milk in the grocery store. Grocery stores or convenience stores never put milk up front, right? Milk, the dairy section, all the stuff that people go into to primary, I don't get dairy stuff, is in the back because you have to walk through the entire store to get to the stuff. And then on the way there, you're going to end up getting more things. Right? Same principle. You can figure out what you like to talk about, or when you're talking to someone, what would be a good fit for them when you're talking to them. You don't want to hit them with everything. Like Sandy was talking about. Sandy has a passion for Clean Slate, right? As we all do. But there are times where you might say, man, you know what? You're going to love the coffee. And here's the pitch on the coffee. Most people, at least a lot of people that I know, they drink lattes or they drink coffee with cream in it. Not in my world. Coffee, give me back my youth. I don't have a bottle on my desk. Game over. You can do espresso with like a teaspoon of give me back my youth in it. Stir it up. Whisk it if you like to be frothy. And you've got the best condensed latte you've ever had in your life. And if you wanted flavor, you can hit it with a drop or a couple drops of what your favorite flavoring is. That way you're not getting too much sugar and blowing yourself out the way that Starbucks and everybody else likes to do with all these lattes and everything. But you can have something that is extremely rich, extremely good for you, and very, very valuable. So we got that. Oh, the coffee's so good. I don't drink coffee. Yeah, and I want to like you coffee and zero in. This stuff is the smoothest coffee, and I've always talked about the bitterness being out of it, but actually what's happening is the acidity that people don't like is gone. Now, if you like really bitter coffee, if you like your coffee to have a bite, which I don't know who would, probably not going to be your ideal, because all of the toxicity, all of that bitterness is no longer there. We've only had one person complain that it didn't have the bite, but everyone else has stated that this is the smoothest cup of coffee that they've ever had. And that is something that you can take to the bank, because no one else can do what we're doing to create that. So we got that. Let me see here. Journey. Yeah, Olivia, you're dead on. She took a 0 in 2.5 hours ago, and you know, you can go from being fatigued to feeling outstanding like real quick. And it's the one thing, like, ladies, if you know any moms that have kids that are less than 20, the greatest thing you can do for any mom is just say, here's 2 pills, call me in the morning. Right? Doctors do it. Take 2, call me in the morning. If you just what's that going to cost? It's going to cost about $3.50, right? About $1.70 a pill. I think that's where we're at right now. So $1. So you could give someone $3.40 as a gift, $3.50 as a gift, and go, here, I want you to try this. Call me in the morning. They won't call you in the morning. They'll call you in about 20 minutes going, what did you just do to me? You go, do you like it? I'll send you a link. You can get more. That's it. You go, what is this stuff? You know, it's happiness in a capsule. Well, I want more of that. Okay, here you go. You know, what does it do for performance? Well, you'll crush it. What does it do when I go out? Oh, well, you're going to have more fun than you've ever imagined. And you're going to sleep like you're in a coma, because you can take this other little dropper that helps you get better dreams, right? It's all in word tracking, right? You hear Sandy, what Sandy was talking about. Do you know, if you go out and tell people that you found something that helps them sleep deeper and have better dreams, people go, wait a minute, what? I want that. How do I do that? Because it's not as much the sleep that people miss. People miss dreaming, because that's where the real value comes in. So being able to tell people, man, I found something that helps me dream. They go, oh, okay, I want to try that. Kids in 0 in, concentrate problems, 12-year-old. Sylvia, we have 5-year-olds that take 0 in and absolutely love it. Some of them can swallow capsules. Others, the parents are taking capsules and taking a half a capsule, depending upon how old the kid is, and putting it in food. But if kids are old enough to swallow a capsule, or if you can mask the bitterness, go for it. Dopamine and serotonin are not something that are just designed for adults. Actually, they're great for animals too. But for people of all ages, you're going to find that your kids are more manageable and more functional with higher levels of dopamine and serotonin. Your kids will be happy. They'll be focused. They'll be able to learn better. And I'm pretty sure that if you have kids, that is number one. You want your kids to be able to learn better, because they're supposed to be learning something every day, right? It's growth. So if they're able, and think about this, what if going back to the mom part, what if you could give your kids a pill that made them enjoy cleaning their room? What? That's true. Test it. They say, okay, kids, here's what we're gonna do. I got this pill, makes you feel amazing. You give it to them, wait 10 minutes, like, hey, I need you guys to clean your room before we do stuff. They'd be like, okay, let's go. That's dopamine. It's like, okay, we have a task. And you just make it fun. We're like, okay, I got a challenge. You guys do this, and then we'll go do something fun. They will go knock out their room. And how do I know this? Because I've had friends and colleagues of mine take a couple zero in and clean their kitchen and clean their house with a toothbrush. No joke. I had a buddy of mine that took a zero in. He called me about an hour later. He's like, dude, what did you just give me? He's like, I live in LA. I'm in the movie industry. I've used every substance known to man. I've never taken anything like this. And why did I just clean all my windows with a toothbrush? He's like, I have someone that cleans my house for me, and I just cleaned all the windowsills and my kitchen. And it was outstanding. Like, there you go. Oh, Michelle's asking how much Give Me Back My Youth we should use to make infant formula. You know what? I have no freaking clue. But you can look at the dosage of what you get with Give Me Back My Youth. What is it, 4 grams? Or is it 2 grams of bovine colostrum and 2 grams of bovine collagen? I don't have a Pat. You've got a bottle in your office. Oh, just like that. I was going to ask him to read it. Nope. Yeah, it's 2 grams of collagen and 2 grams of colostrum per serving, which is a teaspoon. Do you guys know how amazing that is? Do you guys actually understand how outstanding this stuff actually is and the value that you get? And that if you have people that are selling like collagen and colostrum supplements, ask them one question. Is yours whole colostrum? Because this is the only one on the market that I believe that it's actually whole colostrum. And is it cruelty free? Oh, this is the only one that's cruelty free. But if you were making baby formula, it would depend on how much you're making. I'd probably use a teaspoon or 2. And if you were going to make baby formula, I would do it with the one that only has 2 ingredients, because I wouldn't want to poison my kids with anything else, right? If you can't get breast milk and you can't get camel milk or donkey milk, then you can make your own. And I would add a bunch of that. I've not made baby formula. So somebody asked about macular degeneration. Okay, 2 things for that. One, this is coming soon. So everybody knows about the original Clean Slate that didn't have trace minerals in it. Notice the logo. This is the doctor's version that will be available here soon. I think this one's empty. I drank it already. I actually did drink the whole bottle. For macular degeneration, Clean Slate is a numero uno. The CTC version of Clean Slate won't have the trace minerals in it, and it is an off-label use. We do not recommend it, but people will use that as eye drops, and because it's not sterile. So if you are going to you could use Clean Slate the same way, but because of the vitamin C concentration and the trace minerals in Clean Slate, it burns like hell. It's not recommended to do that. But if you took the CTC version of Clean Slate and you wanted to put that on your eyes, I would do it with a little bit of saline solution, whatever they use for making eye drops, and do that. It helps a ton. but just oral use of Clean Slate is phenomenal for that. And then adding Restore and Zero In, actually. So those are good. But we've actually had really cool results with those. No, so what the CTC line, we have to figure out how we're gonna do it. It's probably gonna be available for everybody, but most of the products, CTC, Restore, Zero In, Give Me Back My Youth, they're all it's all the root products. They're just labeled for doctors. Clean Slate is going to have the little different formula. And they should be available for people. Someone asked a question about Morgan's. I don't know what they're asking. And we've had not just, as Nurse Christie was mentioning, but not just like macular degenerations or degeneration issues, but everything from glaucoma to one of the big things that we see consistently, if you want to understand that the eyes are the window to the soul, and that you have to remember these two things right here. Your eyes are brain tissue. Your eyes are directly connected through your ocular nerves right to your brain, right? But the interesting part is your eyes are actually the one part of your brain that is exposed to the environment every day. Right? Your eyes are open, you're being exposed to the environment. So the toxins that are in your environment and things that are getting sprayed and things are actually, they'll get on your eyes and you might try to, flush stuff out, but some of that goes right up. And that toxicity that gets in there actually causes the shadowiness, macular degeneration that can come in, the films that can go over your eyes that can build up over time. All of that is environmental in many aspects. And it's also one of the key parts of the Detox Triangle. I haven't talked about this in a long time. We used to talk about this 3 years ago, right, Sandy? So the Detox Triangle, for people to understand a key aspect of toxicity and how it affects the body, and we'll wrap it up with this. You have to understand vascular function, because toxic heavy metals like mercury, cadmium, arsenic, lead, aluminum, cesium, strontium. Sorry, Roland. You handle it. They will damage the vascular lining. It is actually the toxic metals that damage the endothelium that cause a reduction in nitric oxide production, but also create the environment for plaque to build up in your arteries. It's not cholesterol, right? It's the inflammatory process created by these toxins, the damage that they do to your arteries, it does that. And then if you have these vaccinosis issues that people are dealing with, it creates an exacerbation of issues that becomes absolutely absurd. But if you have damage being done to your vascular system, do you think it's going to have a bigger impact on your larger arteries initially, or the smallest ones? It's going to be the smallest ones. The smallest ones are at extremities. So the smallest arteries in the body, if we we'll use men as the best example, because it's how the triangle came into understanding, because women really don't have a problem hearing, right? Guys, we know this. Women hear absolutely freaking everything. A woman could be 5 rooms away. We could whisper something in a room and she's going to hear it. But guys, our hearing goes bad a little quicker. So the Detox Triangle is actually vision, hearing, and erectile function. That's the triangle, because you have the smallest arteries. And when the toxins actually create inflammation and cause damage in there, you have a restriction of blood flow. Less blood flow, less function. So hearing, vision, erectile function. Now, there's a lot of guys that will say, wait a minute, I don't have small vascular function. I have great vascular function. No, sorry. It's one of the 3. It's not vision, it's not hearing, It's erectile function. We all have small arteries. They'll argue that small arteries don't matter, but we know it's important. So that's a big part. And that's where, as you're cleaning stuff up of using Clean Slate, if you pay attention, you can see improvements. We've had so many people that have lost their glasses and not need them anymore. Jill and Shanna are actually a really good example of this. Both of them actually were able to ditch their glasses, not because they couldn't find them, but because they didn't need them. Or people that are needing to change their prescriptive lenses because they actually don't need the assistance. And many people have had their eye color change, which is kind of cool, of watching someone go from brown to blue or brown to green. Because the two primary eye colors are brown and blue. So you can play with those. So Biggie, yeah, it's the or Biggie. The whites around your eyes can improve. Part of that is liver function, right? Is most people will know that you can identify cirrhosis of the liver and liver problems because of the yellowing of the eyes, because there's copious amounts of alcohol consumption that is damaging the liver, and the liver is very good at expressing issues through different parts of the body, skin, eyes being one of those, that if your eyes are yellow or if they've been red, they're being exposed to things, or they're becoming a little more toxic. So as you start to clean stuff up, you'll see those change. And if I've only done it a couple times because it burns like hell, but Clean Slate and a drop, or if you took a drop of Clean Slate and you put that in, or if you took a couple drops of Clean Slate, put it in some eye drops, just the moisturizing eye drops, and you just use those, you'd probably see some really good benefits. That wouldn't sting as much. And then with the CTC Clean Slate, when it gets ready to come out, you'll be able to have something that way as well. So yeah, no more floaters. That's so true. I forgot the floaters. The floaters are an easy one. You see floaters go away. If you've ever had those. I've never had floaters before, but people have like things that they can see going around their eyes. Those are toxins. That's a mess. Yep, we've seen stuff with tinnitus in different aspects. One of the things with tinnitus, there's probably a lot of people that have tinnitus right now, because tinnitus is actually a symptom of mercury toxicity from getting shots. Not just the most recent ones that people got, but even going back to the hepatitis B and all the stuff that they give kids. Because kids can have ringing in their ears, and they just think that that's normal, right? They wouldn't tell you that they have ringing in their ears until later on, and they realize that this is really freaking annoying. Why do they have to keep hearing the ringing? So, and here's the important part for everyone to understand in this, right? It's the simple premise of stepping away from being the solution, right? Because so many people say, I need a cure for this, or I found a cure for this, or I want to solve this or solve that. You don't need a solution, because I've never met a healthy person who has health problems. A healthy body, a healthy functioning body, won't have health issues. Those two things don't mix, right? One can't exist in the other environment, right? If your body is actually doing really, really well, and you're giving it everything it needs, you won't get sick. You won't have all the stuff that people need a cure for, because it doesn't exist in that environment. Now, that's not to say that you won't be continually exposed to things, and you won't give your body an opportunity to be successful in dealing and managing with other stuff. That's the whole point of the journey. But you won't fall victim to the environment. Pat wrote this. I'll read this for everybody if you haven't read it. So she's where's he at? So currently, Pat's in Vienna with the U18 national team for the European Youth. Oh, really? European Youth Championships? Let's go. So I've never been so relaxed and focused before. The kids love being around me because of being so funny and chill. They love me even more. My days are about 16 hours long, but she manages everything with 0N and root products. Imagine being with a bunch of teenagers, a bunch of teenage boys at a basketball tournament, and they're in a different country and they think they can do anything they want. Yeah, good luck. That stressful. Especially when your job is to get them to perform well the next day, and they're out and about on their own. And Vienna is amazing. So let me see here. We get one more note. Can you take more than 10 drops twice a day? Yes. So just so everyone knows, with Clean Slate, and I will argue the majority of people are taking less than the recommended dosage, right? I would say most people take less than 10 drops twice a day. You can take more. Now, as you've heard Dr. Ram mention numerous times before, depending upon our travels and our exposure, she'll drink a quarter of a bottle. I'll drink a half a bottle at a time. I can shotgun an entire bottle, and because I've been doing this for so long, the detox effect that people get, I don't get. But here's the important part to understand with Clean Slate, because so many people look at the detoxification benefit of what Clean Slate does, and that is so profound. But here's the special point and why using more is actually better. Clean Slate is the amplifier for every other product, no matter if it's topical like Reno, or with Era with the tea mist, or even the pucker plumper, or Give Me Back My Youth, or ReLive Greens. And I'll use those two really quickly, right? So you understand why Clean Slate is foundational, but you're doing yourself a disservice by not using the others along with it. And we've hit on this consistently, and we will continue to hammer this point home every time we can. If you read the bottle of Clean Slate, and people ask the question, well, it's just vitamin C and water and sea salt. You actually have to read one more ingredient. It says silicon dioxide, right? And I've had to explain this over and over and over again to people, because of the purity of the clinoptilolite that we use to make Clean Slate. It's 66.7% silica, right? That means when we process it, we're basically making bioavailable silica, silicon dioxide. Clinoptilolite, this amazing little volcanic crystal, happens to be nature's most bioavailable form of orthosilicic acid, or bioavailable silica. Now, just like a computer needs microchips to run, which are silicon-based, the body needs bioavailable silica to run faster and work better, which means the more bioavailable silica you give it, i.e., the more Clean Slate you take, the faster and better the processing is going to become. Now, when you take ReLive Greens, there are so many people right now that are talking about the importance and benefits of glutathione, right? And people are marketing glutathione supplements, have been for a long time, because glutathione is the master antioxidant. You'll hear that used consistently. But what these people fail to explain is that glutathione is actually something that is metabolized and created in the body. You don't need to supplement it. It's actually a bad thing to supplement with, because by supplementing with glutathione, you're actually teaching your body to not produce it. Because if your operating system begins to become dependent on your behavior, it will shut off things that it should be doing because you're making it easier to get some of these things, even if they're more efficient or less effective. So supplementing with a glutathione product is actually going to do that. Now, something unique happens with glutathione production in the body because there's one element that actually shuts off natural glutathione production. That substance happens to be mercury. So let's look at this process. Clean Slate removes mercury. Clean Slate also delivers the bioavailable silica and the key trace minerals needed to begin the regeneration process. But ReLive Greens just so happens to be full of all of these different greens that are loaded with different amino acids that make up all of the precursors that the body needs to produce glutathione. So if you're taking the catalyst, which is the silica, in addition to the naturally sourced components that the body needs to get in order to create glutathione naturally, you enhance the production of natural glutathione. Hashtag winning. Now, if you're taking collagen supplements, like the purest form being Give Me Back My Youth, you know what the body needs when taking collagen? Because if you consume collagen, and that could be like eating joint tissue, like collagen and connective tissue from animals, or you're drinking bone broth, because bone broth is actually cooking down all of that connective tissue. That's why it congeals when it gets cold, because you're getting all of that fat and all that collagen, which is so tasty. Your stomach is going to break all of that collagen down into the amino acid profile of what it consisted of, so your body can use the amino acids, which is what happens here. You have to have the silica to act as the catalyst to enhance collagen production, which is why you have people with their hair, their nails, and their skin going absolutely bonkers when they use the two. One enhances the other. Same thing goes with immune defense shield, the production of nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, which we've gone over, is the key to longevity. And it's the key to cellular energy and overall body function, because if your cells have more energy, everything works better. If they don't, you're weak, your immune system is compromised, your endocrine system is compromised, every aspect of your life is compromised, and your life will be shorter based on the amount of NAD you have in your body. But that NAD production is amplified by having the bioavailable silica that helps process more of it. See how they all come together now? So don't just focus on one. And this is the test, right? You get someone introduced to the process, they're like, wow, if this stuff's really good, the rest of it would be really good too. Yes. So then it begins the journey of, okay, if you started with this, but how good do you want to perform? How good do you want to feel? How long do you want to be here? How combative do you want to be of the environment and what we're dealing with and what we're being exposed to and how the world is responding? This is the point. And that's when it becomes fun, because then customers create more customers and you get to share, and then you get to be like Sandy and go, man, I'd have to work 2,000 hours a month doing what I was doing to do what I'm doing now. And here's what I'll tell you. Sandy's not working that hard now. Is there even 2,000 hours in a month? 24 hours in a day. Hold on. Let me see. 24 times 30. Is that right? 24 times 30. Yeah, there's only 720 hours in a month. Look at that deal. Talk about making more time. See, Sandy, you actually have to use that. I say, man, what I figured out today is I work over 2,000 hours a month. You go, what? I'm like, well, it's how much I make now. How cool is that? That's money. That's how you create some influence. It's like, I get 2,000 hours of productivity. What do? I just help people. Yeah, the struggle is real. Kind of cool. So with that, Marlene, can Clean Slate bind PFAS? Yes. Bianca, can Clean Slate get rid of gadolinium? Yes. And actually, on the YouTube channel, it should still be on the YouTube channel. I know we're getting cleaned up a bunch of the YouTube stuff. On the YouTube channel, there's an amazing, if you just search gadolinium on the YouTube channel for videos, you can probably pull that up. They're not getting away yet. Yeah, Wendy, the autism community pushes glutathione. Here's the problem with people in the autism community. No, I'm not going to disrespect people. Most of them are ignorant. It's the hard part. Here's the thing. And I've made this comment many times before, and we've talked about this in biohacking. And I'm going to get out of the see the smart thing a guy will do is just step aside for, the real smart people to get involved. Here's the deal. We live in a world that has been bioscience engineered. The world that we live in has actually been developed by bioscience engineers. The pollutants in the environment, the toxins in the water, all the chemicals and pollutants and heavy metals and environmental poisons in the soil that are in your food, that are in your beverages, that are in the things you consume, breathe, wear. It's all done through bioscience engineering. So if we're living in a world where we've been under attack from creations of bioscience engineers, the only way that we would be able to create a response would be to have our own bioscience engineer that happens to know everything that has been done, that then could create solutions because she knew what had been done, what was going to be done, and what we can do to combat it and clean it up. Allow me to introduce you to her and the eye of the wolf. How about that? So this is the real important part. There is only one. Just like in the Matrix, that's what Neo was the one. We are in the Matrix, right? Many people understand that now. We're in the Matrix. There's the one. I haven't seen her do bullet time yet. If she does that, I will tell you, if there's some point where my wife goes and dodges a bullet, I will lose my freaking mind. That will be cool. I won't be the one pulling the trigger, so that's a good part. But if she starts dodging bullets, we know it's game over. We win. But it is such an important point for people that are taking other products or other supplements, or they're talking about, my kid has these issues and I'm in this community. Great. Who's the nanobiotechnologist that's creating all the solutions for you? Oh, you don't have one? Allow me to introduce you to one. Because you can ask that. And this is the simple question. If people are like, I use these products, they're great. Great. Who's the nanobiotechnologist that created them? Oh, it was a chiropractor. Sorry, not going to hold up the muster. Pretty sure they don't know what's going on. All these people want to talk about Oh, mRNA. Great. Were they at Bristol Myers Squibb when Bristol Myers Squibb was doing HIV research on mRNA 16 years ago? No? Oh, she was. Oh, okay. You know, when Pfizer was talking about doing this stuff 25 years ago, and you know, they were getting ready for 2020 and 2022 and COVID 25 years ago. And the director of the CIA was talking about how that was going to be played out. Were they there? No, she was. You ever work in China with the Chinese government setting up hospitals so you're connected to all the top doctors over in the country that told you what was going on? No, she was. I'm pretty sure there's only one person we need to listen to right now. And the best part is we don't even have to listen to her. All you have to do is share what she did in order to deal with the environment, because we know that our mental health is attacked. That's why we have everything that we've got in place doing what we're doing, that we know our physical health is being attacked. And people looked at the clothing line and they're like, why would you do that? It's like, well, when she was at Harvard, she created, and this is actually fact, when she was doing her nanotechnology and bioscience engineering program at Harvard, she created the nano skin barrier. That is what Envirom has, which will be out here very shortly with skin defense. It is a nano protective skin that you just spray on your skin, or you can spray on your clothing to protect you from all the 5G and everything else. You know why no one's heard of it? Because no one's ever made it before. It was from here and all of her work that she's done to create something to protect people from the environment. Oh, there's a good chat. Okay, so we hit on this real quick. So Nurse Christy said that she's got someone that started on Trinity on Monday and they now have a horrible yeast infection. Yeah, their body's flushing all that stuff out. And so just so all of you know, in that aspect, if you've had previous issues, your body you might see an expression of something, especially if you've got topical, if you've had skin issues in different areas, or yeast and herpes and all this stuff, you might have an outbreak of something and it will clear. So you'll have an outbreak, you go, oh no, I got to deal with this again. But if you hydrate, you keep doing what you're doing, it will express out, your body will get rid of it. It's throwing out the trash, right? But if you've got stuff that has been there before, the body's going to push all of that out. So it's going to come out. And then when it goes away, it doesn't come back. So it's a lot of fun. It's kind of cool to watch, but you have to hydrate. Yes. Let me see here. Are there studies with Parkinson's? Yes, on ISNS. And with that, we get to go because Sandy's worn out. So hopefully, we had no idea what we were going to talk about today, but we hopefully talked about something of substance. Maybe we learned one thing. Apply for the doc call. Send a message to science@therootbrands.com and they can get invited to the doctor stuff. With that, Jorg, thanks for coming. Love your background, brother. Good work. Happy Monday. Root you tomorrow. More fun stuff. It's the beginning of April. It's a new month. Who's going to hit like a new rank this month that is going to be outstanding? Hey, Sandy, when are you going to hit Elite 5? Let's go. You got work to do. He's got the head start, right? This is the fun part. Is Birgit, why do you got your hand raised?
You were asking for new ranks, and a new gold 5 just popped in. Madeline Horst, the sister of Nicole Gruntas.
Yeah, Madeline, that's awesome.
It's getting really golden here, and You know, it's getting Diamond 3 soon, and we have platinums coming in. It's because people share and people work and people get on the phone and people, you know, spread their knowledge. And this is all about sharing. You're
How
doing a
cool is it?
wonderful job in making us all rich, and Sandy is earning so much. And I can only tell you, I earn so much that I never earned in my 35-year career as a head airline hostess. You know, I just fall from my chair when I see what I earn. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's amazing. And I can only tell people, money does not stink, because you can do a lot of good with a lot of money. And Clayton has an account where he has given and donated, but he doesn't talk about it, to so many good causes. Thank you, Clayton, for being such a good-hearted person. I know you are, and don't talk about it, because they don't need to know. They should do good themselves without talking about it.
And it's the fun. It is the fun part of having more than you need. Right. And this is the goal for all of us, is we all have different needs. We all have different desires. But if you're able to exceed those, what do you do with it? Right. It's a matter of then how you give back, what you can create in the world. Right. Who can you help? Who can you take with you? Who can you assist? And that's it. I will tell you right now, in this world, and I'm trying to put this together with MassPay with some of my colleagues. The ecosystem that we created is designed to be outside of the traditional financial system, right? And there's intent in that. But right now, we are in the midst of a financial collapse of epic proportions, right? Globally. We are going to see a freaking meltdown, and it's going to get bad. So I'm trying to put together the tools that I can make available for our entire community, because I will bet the majority of you didn't know this. My first aspect of my career was in financial services when I got out of college. Years ago, I spent a year working with what was the Northwest Territorial Mint, which was the largest bullion, gold and silver dealer in the United States. They also did custom minting work, which was outstanding, because I wanted to understand the physical markets. And as a financial plan, everyone should have 10% of your assets should be actually in physical metal and gold and silver. I would argue right now you could bump that number up significantly, and you're going to do really, 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 really well. But it is really important. The problem in this is there's a lot of people and a lot of companies that take advantage of people because of the premiums that they charge to get access to metal. I'm trying to make available my sources to the community through MassPay, so we can get access to the things that we need, and I know that people are going to be able to get taken care of. Bisha, yeah, your 20% is a good number. And here's the point in this, and I've got people that are big on crypto and whatnot. If you want to play money games, crypto is great. But here's what I'll tell you. And I've learned to follow the money, right? So here's the final advice for the week. When countries and central banks, now granted, I am fervently against central banks. They are the problem. They have been the problem for the last, since they were created. When central banks and countries are accumulating massive amounts of gold and silver, because that's what they're backing their currencies with, where should we be putting our money? I'm going to go with what they're doing. Because if the currencies that we want to hold are actually backed by metal, then you're probably going to want to hold the metal. as part of your financial plan, because all of that's going to do is skyrocket because, well, granted, there is a lot of it. There's decreasing amounts of it. And when you compare gold and silver, silver has been suppressed for a long time for a couple of reasons. But it's not going to hurt you to hold on to it even as a reserve. So don't look at it as a speculative basis, but get some and hold on to it, because interesting times are coming, and it is and always has been and always will be real money. So make sure you can get that. Can we create a digital banking with good encryption? That's what the Rootverse is. If you guys didn't know that yet, you live and function within probably the most advanced fintech system available on the market. We just disguised it as an ecosystem for consumerism. Spend some time in the back office and look at it, and look at what you can do, where you put money, how you can extract it, and who's got their hands on it. The only thing that we have to deal with is the banking aspect, and working with right now who we bank through, which is something we're very cognizant of, because I don't own a bank yet. That's on the list. I want to own a bank. If we own a bank, then it's over. Then we're good, because then we'll be completely cool. But that's going to take a little bit of work. We have friends that own a bank in Switzerland. We're trying to figure that out. So, but that's my outside of the world eco conversation. Buy metal. And here, I'll give you two places. If you guys want, if you need to get stuff done, I'm going to give you the place that I use right now. Those are the best. That's the best one. I just put it in chat. That's the best one for, like, from a retail standpoint. And you guys can do your research on this. If gold and silver are commodities, so they should be purchased. You should buy them with the lowest premium possible, because you want to get your biggest bang for your buck. You want to get as much metal as possible with paying the lowest fee. So JM has been one that they've been phenomenal for me. If you're wanting higher quantities, shoot me an email or shoot me a message on WhatsApp. Most of you are connected to us in the groups. Just shoot a message on WhatsApp. I've got my guys that are here in Nashville that can ship anywhere in the world, and I'm trying to put together the plan with them to make it available through MassPay. So we'll do that. And now I have to go because Mama just asked for green tea and I forgot to get it. And with that, I have to go get green tea. I know my role. So konnichiwa, my friends.